Hi everyone, so this video is going to be an introduction to ProSets. They are procedural selection sets and they create component lists which can then be used with Maya's modeling tools, and we do all the legwork for you. There's loads of cool little features in it that help make modeling just more live, and it also, one of the great benefits is that the underlying mesh can change and your modeling history won't fall apart when you're using ProSets. So let's just create a torus, and I'm just going to scale this up. And then I will extrude a face. And the reason I'm going to do that is because ProSets work on modeling history, so you need to add some modeling history before you can then drag the node into the ProSet, which will kick the whole process off. So let's just extrude a face like so. And then, as I say, that creates a poly extrude face node, which you can see up here in the attribute editor, poly extrude face. And then when I've added the ProSet, so you don't have to have the mesh selected when you do this, but you just go Mainframe Labs, create ProSet. That gives us this UI, which I'll just tidy up. So this is the UI. We have an enable button here. We've got the component mode, which you can choose here because different modeling tools work on different component types. Then we have this drop zone where you can drag in a mesh or a modeling tool. And then we've got lots of settings down here. So let's just drag in our torus. And when we drag a torus into the drop zone, we get a history list pop up here. And this just shows you the whole history of the mesh. And then you can just choose one of the modeling tools here. So I want poly extrude face 1, so let's just do that. So that's added a row into the drop list here, and that is for the poly extrude face node. So if I double click on that, we go to the poly extrude face node, back to the ProSet. If I just roll down modulus and hit use modulus, you can see we immediately have an effect. So this is selecting every other face on the torus, and we can select every fourth face on the torus if you want to. So let's say we've done this. We can also we could grow this selection if we wanted to. We could invert it. We can add faces or components as a percentage of the total component count, so that just adds all of them in order. We can add them based on the component size, which we'll go through later. We can add them randomly, so we can just add some random components like that, random seed here. And we can add them based on normals. So if I were to change the normal mode here to custom normal angle, by default the custom normal angle is Y up. So sorry, is Y up. So all the faces that are pointing upwards are included. If I was just to change this to -1, then all the faces that are pointing down would be included. So let's just choose that one there. And then what we can do is we can grow the selection, or we can shrink it. And then there's also a minimum threshold here, so we could do something like that. And what is great about ProSets is that all this is kind of live. So like I said, the underlying geometry can change. So if I just go to the polytorus node, I can increase the number of subdivisions in height and maybe in width as well. So let's just change that to 30. I'll just go back to the ProSet. I'm going to need to adjust the modulus here. But that's the result that we get, which is pretty cool. Okay, so enough messing around. Let's show you something else that's cool. If I just grab an edge here, and then I'm just going to go bevel that. So I go edit mesh, I go bevel, which gives us a poly bevel node. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, with the mesh selected, I'm just going to alt click on the ProSet shelf tool, which will take us straight to a new ProSet and then throw up the history list so that we can skip a step. So we just select the poly bevel here, hit continue. Now we need to change the component mode. We need to change the component mode to edge, and this does not happen automatically. You need to change it manually. So just change the component mode to edge here. And then what we can do is under normals, we can choose an edge mode, and we can choose hard edges here. And what that's going to do is it's going to bevel every hard edge on the mesh. And that is currently beveling 1,248 edges. So if I show you this ProSet here, we can see how many faces we're exporting to the modeling tool. That's here, and then on the other ProSet, here's the edge count here. So that done. What we can do is say change something like the modulus on the original mesh here, say something like 2, and you'll see that the bevel has held up, and the bevel is updated to reflect our new choice. So we can put that back. Was it 5 before? We could change the normal angle here on this, or we could just turn that off completely if we wanted to. Just put that back. It's quite fun. And yeah, everything updates and it's nice and alive. And the underlying mesh, as I say, can change. So we can choose to reduce that if we wanted to, or we could up this if we so desired to get a smoother result or whatever. But yeah, it's all live, and that's kind of like a crash course in getting off the ground with ProSets. So stay tuned for all the other exciting features.